Welcome to Conversations with Champions. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I am the founder and CEO of the Randolph Speaker Bureau. And our mission statement is we help you to unleash your voice and ignite your full potential. Today, I have with me a fascinating guest. He is a TEDx speaker. He is an educator. He is a finalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking. Fursey Gotuaco. All right, how you doing tonight, Fursey?
I'm great, Johnny. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
As many of you know, the World Championship of Public Speaking within Toastmasters is a big deal. Across the globe, over 30,000 people start off competing in this competition, and it boils down to the top 9 best speakers from literally around the world. In 2024, Fursey competed in the finals level at the World Championship of Public Speaking. What we are going to do is we are going to watch his video and react to it. And then afterwards, I am going to pick his brain to get a glimpse behind the magic and the genius of the speaker. With that being said, let's get started. Johnny speaks. We lean in, truth and heart with the brilliant grin. He tells a tale, makes us see. Best in you, the best in me. Oh.
Asking for your help. What do you do? For me, having been a teacher for over 30 years, that person was usually a student. And they were afraid, often having the worst day of their life. I understand fear. Contest chair, journey with me, if you will. You can stay. I have an incredibly paralyzing fear of heights.
Okay.
I decided to challenge myself by going on a zipline canopy tour. So they strapped me into a harness, they clipped me onto a line, and said, fly! And everybody else is having fun, but not me.
I bet. For a person got a fear of heights.
I was petrified. And then over on the other mountain, there's a man with a camera going, smile. But I made it.
Good for you.
And then they send you to another mountain, and then another mountain, and then another mountain. And by the end of it, when I got to the last mountain, I felt like I had conquered my fear.
I like it.
Until the guide came over.
Shows you that picture.
And now we have to get off the mountain by rappelling. Yes, now instead of the rope going across and holding
It's going
me
down.
up, the rope was going down. You go first. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finally, the guide says, when everybody's down there waiting for Fursey, it's okay. Just let the rope go slowly through your hands and keep your feet against the wall below you. And then he pushed me off the cliff.
Because you would have never gotten down, probably.
I let the rope go slowly and slowly, but then it went too fast. And soon my feet were above my head.
Oh, Lord.
This is the part everybody remembers.
I said, somebody help me. I'm stuck on the side of the mountain. And everybody down below is going, put your feet down. Put your feet down.
You put your feet down.
because they all want to go to lunch. I can't put my feet down. I have no upper body strength.
That line right there, that was a killer.
And that's when a face appeared. Right here. Huh? It was the guide standing there. I was this close to the ground.
Such a generous audience. They were great.
No, it was that was great joke. Great joke. Great humor. Great energy.
Rope and ended up, boom.
I don't know if you noticed it. My microphone fell to the ground there.
Oh.
It's on. I picked it up already, but it fell to the ground.
Failure.
But you kept going. Hey, you kept going.
That I realized.
I love
You
it.
gotta keep going.
Yeah, the show
How
went on.
I could best help my students. Because while I was down here, everybody else was standing around me laughing at my failure. Everybody except for one person. The guide.
Well, that's good.
The guide
Show compassion.
understood my problems.
Right.
And he stood where I could see him.
And that's the
He
crux of
met
the
me where I was.
Mm.
That's when I realized my students don't need me to be flying through the air for them. They needed me to understand them. They needed me to empathize with them. They needed me to listen and to let them know that it was safe. The guide said to me, just put your feet down, you'll be safe. But we have to understand, when we are helping people who need our help, sometimes
This is where you've got
they're
to.
not facing right at us.
You've got
where
to
they
go
can
from
see
me
us.
to we.
Sometimes they're facing that way.
Your story.
Right. But it's
For
for the
Meet
audience.
them where they
It has
are
to
and,
be
and walk
everybody's
over
story.
to them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're facing that way. And other times they are
Falling.
Have you ever been there? I have. That's my student. Hundreds of them. That's your son. That's your daughter. That's your best friend. That's the person sitting next to you,
Absolutely.
silently suffering.
And you said you're making a connection with
And
them.
it's our opportunity to go to them, meet them where they are, and let them know they're safe. They can put their feet down now and stand up. We can do that for the people who need us the most. In your life, who's in the chair? Go to them. Meet them where they are. Let them know it's safe.
And right there, Fursey should have
Lift
stopped
their
talking.
hearts. And together, you will both rise.
It's not gymnastics. You don't need to
Contest
stick
chair.
the landing.
No, love it. I absolutely love it. Great job. Yes. That is probably one of the most effective uses of a prop that I have ever seen as a Toast Mountain. It was almost a second character in.
Yes, sir. It is. And for that speech to be successful, you have to make people believe there's somebody really there, right? They have to
Absolutely.
imagine their best friend, their son or daughter. Otherwise, who cares, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm thinking of a movie scene, and if it was a movie, it would be starring Fursey, and then right there, green chair as your co-star.
And there's a part of it that most people don't think about, but it was important to me, and I rehearsed it and I practiced it. It's the sound the chair makes. We just don't think about sounds when we listen to speeches or when people do speeches. We don't think about the human sounds. We think about all the words that are spoken. We don't think about human sounds, like even a speaker laughing. We don't think about those sounds that convey the human emotion, the energy. And we definitely don't think about the sound of a chair hitting that platform. And I tested that. I wanted to make sure it didn't go boom, boom. It was just a thump.
A clunk. Yeah, a clunk.
Yeah, that chair just thumps. And that's what you want. And I'm not sure how long I held that pause, but I think I held it for about 2, maybe 3 seconds.
Absolutely.
Of deafening silence. And in that place, that's a long time. That's an eternity. But you need that time. You need that time for the audience to go, why are we stopping? Oh, what was the last thing he said? Oh,
and it's a definitive statement too, because something falling and hitting the ground, blunk. It has to grab your attention because you've had this moment where you're speaking and you're gesturing and you're being animated. Then just the silence, it breaks that rhythm and it compels them to pay attention.
It does. And if there was any thought that, we're going to go back to comedy, no.
It's
right? I mean, and for some, it's a little disappointing. They're like, wait a minute, what happened to all the funny stuff? I like the funny. It's like, no, because life's not funny.
What made you want to be a public speaker?
Oh, it's an evolution.
Okay.
I think sometimes it's like asking a caterpillar, what made you want to be a butterfly? It's like, I didn't know I was going to be a butterfly. I was just here eating, and all of a sudden I was in frozen time, in a cocoon. I really did not expect to be a public speaker. Only after I joined Toastmasters did I realize, this is a thing.
What made you want to go to a Toastmasters meeting?
Curiosity. I wasn't even sure what Toastmasters was. It was in China, and I had the opportunity to meet Chinese people because I was a teacher at an international school in China, which means that you kind of just hang out with everyone who's Western. They're all expats. They're all Canadians, Americans, South Africans. But they're not from, And so all of a sudden, I get to meet someone outside of my circle. Sure. And I kind of owed her.
Okay.
I kind of owed her one. I owed her. So I bet, I will go to your event. I don't know what it is, but you say it's about public speaking. Sure, why not? And then when I got there, I was like, this is great. And I'll tell you what's great about it, because I mean, Johnny, I already taught speech and theater. I didn't really.
It just kind of went right along with that, right?
Yeah, I didn't need public speaking lessons.
Absolutely, I get that.
But the one thing that I got from it, it's a community. And now that you've grown as a speaker, you're a podcaster, what's the image for speaking now?
I would like to say it's tantamount to a Mark Twain. I read Mark Twain where he talked about speakers. You don't have to have a large vocabulary. You just have to simply converse with them. So an impactful speaker to me is someone that can just converse with me. And when they are speaking, their words are carried by the emotion. It doesn't have to be over the top. It doesn't have to be grand. It's the emotion is being carried by, or the words are being carried by the emotion. Genuine emotion and connection in just the plainest, simplest terms. So part of the reason that I do this podcast is I want to experience different types of public speakers. Comedians, I think they're the best because I think they're the best storytellers. TED Talks, John Maxwell, just a person sitting around talking with friends in that nature. So for me, The biggest component of being an effective communicator, an effective speaker, is someone that can speak in their own unique voice in a conversational tone. They have the ability to speak to a large audience as if they're talking to one person. And it's a skill to doing that, just as you did. Like, it's a skill to doing that, to just taking a regular story in this normal conversational pace and then speaking and using your voice, your gestures, I don't know, I'm scratch that, not gestures, your body language to convey emotion and connect with an audience. That's how I look at speaking now.
There you go. I appreciate that. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. So, well, I would ask you the same question. What is the noticeable change, the big change that you recognize when you first went into that meeting, if you can even recall back there, to the status where you are literally being on the world stage?
Yeah, coming from a teaching background and not just teaching knowledge, but actually trying to motivate students to do something.
Okay.
And I was a theater teacher, so you're trying to get people, which at first everybody thinks, oh, isn't that great to be a theater teacher? You must have the easiest job. I'm like, yeah, trying to get everybody to go up on stage and bare their soul. That's so easy. Okay.
Right.
I mean,
and teenagers at that, with all the things that teenagers have going on in their minds and hormones. Oh, you're being picked on already. Go make yourself a bigger target in front of the whole school. Go.
That's exactly right. I mean, you get it. Most people don't understand that. Make yourself a bigger target. Let me make this easy for you.
Right.
Right at me. And so how do you do that? And so having an opportunity to speak to a larger group of people, or a group of people that are outside that realm, is really terrific, because I get to transfer those skills.
The world, respect your teachers. They do us a great service. I want that PSA. If nothing else makes it to the final cut, the world, respect your teachers. They do us a great service.
Yes, they do. Yes,
Absolutely.
they do.
Well, first, what do you enjoy most about speaking?
When you get to shed this mortal coil that we call a body, and join with others in their soul.
It's transcended. I'm with you. I'm with you. No, I'm 100% going with you. Whether you're being,
Fursey, you don't even believe that yourself.
No,
but I think the word you used is good. I think you chose a great word, transcendent. You do get a chance to share your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me it is. I don't know whether it's that case with everybody, but for me, you get to share your heart, your soul. You get to use who you are to help others.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's to help them move forward, and sometimes it's to help them move up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You want to know something else, Johnny? I know this is gonna be really weird. I just said forward and up. Sometimes it's about moving backwards. You help people move backwards so they can go back and heal that part of themselves, so that now they can move forward without the anchor around their neck.
That is actually what I thought you were going to say. So it doesn't sound weird to me at all, because sometimes you have to go back. You have to go back to square one. And I think in life, that's one of the biggest challenges that people have, especially if there was a journey that took you ahead, but maybe it doesn't serve you anymore. And a lot of people, I just don't want to start back over. And they spend so much time preserving whatever that status quo is, that the energy they took preserving it, they could have went back and restarted over for what they really wanted. So that's actually how I thought you were going to say it. So it does not sound strange. Hey, it does not sound strange to me at all. This is an opportunity for me to reevaluate what my goals are. And I might have to go back to learn to do something. I think the pandemic was a prime example of that. I was very comfortable in public speaking. I was very comfortable being in front of the audience. As a matter of fact, the applause of an audience sounded like music to me. It does. And then the pandemic, it snatched all of that away. And then I had to convert to this online format. But in order for me to grow, right, I had to like really confront this new online thing. And even though I don't hear people and things like that, this is a starting point. So I had to go all the way back. I had to learn voice to looking at a perch, trying to make eye contact, to looking at a camera. So many things that I had to step back away from me for me to grow and move forward. So yeah, I think it's important that our speakers, our teachers, our educators, sometimes the messages that hit is a regression. It is a breaking down. To your point, it is a cocoon, and you're shedding that to transform into who you're going to be going forward. Take me, what's a typical process or your starting process when you are creating a presentation, whether that's a 5 to 7 minute speech or an hour-long keynote?
I'm always in process.
I'll talk about it. Okay, talk about it.
I am always in process. Just now, I had dinner with 3 lovely people, and we're talking about their lives. And here's a topic, there's a topic, there's a topic. And I even ask, have you ever talked about this in one of your speeches? They go, no. I'm like, oh my gosh, you gotta talk about this. It's huge. So I'm always in the process of gathering. Beautiful thing we call life. It's a beautiful thing. And when you can notice things about life and people in our lives, I think you're more grateful for what you have. And that makes me happier. For me, being grateful makes me a happy individual. And sometimes, that can either come through your faith. And for me, part of that is faith, but there's also the interchange of people and ideas. And imagine what you would be like if you didn't have all these things. So you better be grateful for what you have. But all of that becomes food for thought and fodder for speeches. And after that, you simply develop it. And if people give you a chance to speak, then you take this in front of a public and you go, well, how did it do? How did people react? Or you develop it further.
And comedians do the same thing. I just did an interview. Last week with a comedian, and he talked about it. So I said, how often do you write jokes? He said, I try to come up with 3 jokes every week. And then I said, how long does it take before that joke is funny? He said, a long time. And I was like, a long time.
But they make it look so easy, don't they?
Right. Exactly. So I said, how long is a long time? So the next question, I said, how often do you go on stage? He said, I go on stage 5 nights a week. So I said, how long does it take you to get that joke? He said, anywhere from 6 months to a week. 6 months to a year. And I said, so you go on stage 5 times, do this joke 5 times a week, and it takes anywhere from 6 months to a year for it to land?
And what is that but a metaphor for so many things we do in life? There's a truth right there, because everybody thinks that's easy. Everybody thinks everybody looks at a comedian and they think, oh, that's the class clown that I knew. Right. Or that's my best friend when he's had a couple drinks. And now he's rolling. Right? He's rolling. He makes it look so easy. But when you have to do it on demand and people are paying for it and they're almost sitting back going, challenge you. Go ahead.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's absolutely a challenge and it's hard. But that's life, right? Yeah. That's life. All the failure. People don't see the failure and the getting back up and the trying again and the falling down and the getting back up. And it's like, isn't that what we do in life? Business.
Absolutely. It's a metaphor. Yeah. Okay. And I think the quotable tonight is, stay in the process. You stay ready to create. I absolutely love that. Well, what was it like the first time you entered into an international speech contest?
Because of my living situation at the time, being in China, then moving to Texas, and then getting out of Toastmasters, it took 2 or 3 years before I was eligible to get into the contest.
Okay.
I just kept missing it. So every time I missed it, and so the anxiety kind of built up. And the first time I got into it, I think my club was actually quite difficult. And the rest of it felt relatively easy. And I know this is just you and me, right, Johnny?
Just us.
I know this is incredibly pathetic, but I bawled, man. I cried when I found out that I won. I cried.
Why do you think?
Because just all the stress and the tension, and my first time, I went all the way to district and won district. I've gone into the contest 4 times, gotten to the semis or the finals 3 times, and then the other time I just got to district.
Okay, just got to district.
Sorry.
Contest changes you from where you start, and even I just competed this year. And I remember a person from my club. I went to the district and I came in second in my district. And I just remember a person in my club, they said, that was like a different speech than you gave at the club contest. They literally they said, I didn't even like the speech at the club contest. And I love this one. And I just started laughing, right? So again, the fact that you said, yeah, the first time and you made it all the way to the district or the semifinals and you cried, I can completely. Have you participated in any of the other contests outside of the international speech contest, and how do those rank to you?
Done table topics. I've won district a couple of times in table topics, and won district in evaluation. Those are the only other contests I've done. I have not done humorous. I've not done tall tales.
Okay. So in the Toastmasters contest, the international, it's 5 to 7 minutes. I know you do keynotes and you do training. How does preparing for a 5 to 7 minute speech or a shorter speech compare to a longer speech in length? Your preparation for it, how do they compare?
Well, I got to tell you, doing a regular 5 to 7. It's about the same preparing for a 5 to 7 as a training, except that the training, oftentimes you've got to develop more 5 to 7s and put them together back to back, not just in terms of length, but in terms of the stories that you use. You also have to know, now doing a contest is something different. That's a whole other set of preparation. But doing a keynote, you have to realize that people have to listen to that voice for 40 minutes.
Yes.
Or 60 minutes. And you've got to find variety. You must go in there looking in the mirror, realizing doesn't matter how good you are, they'll tune you out. They will tune you out. So you have got to shift your rhythm. You've got to change it up. And the stories that you tell have to be different. And the examples that you use have to be different. And you've got to get your audience participating in other ways than just listening. But I love the part that I love now is I love helping people understand what that story is. Like they've got a story in a 5 to 7 minute speech, right? And they've got a typical yada, yada, yada story. The challenge then is, can you go one way with it and shorten it down to table topic length, and then take it even shorter and take it down to a 40-second elevator speech? Can you take your story, which was 2-3 minutes long, 4 minutes long, and shorten it down to 15 seconds? Because that elevator door is going to close. It don't wait for you. Do not hold the door open just so you can keep talking. So get it down to 15 seconds and then look the other direction. Because we have to look at each other and say, you're good enough to do a keynote. You're going to be amazing as a keynote speaker. So now you've got to take that 3 to 4 minutes story within a 7-minute speech, and now can you lengthen it out? And now can you extrapolate? Can you extrapolate different truths out of it?
Adults, especially adults, we tune people out. 12, you get about 12 minutes of just talking before we're like, all right, I got a date tonight, so what am I going to wear?
Right? Gotta go. I gotta go home and rearrange my sock drawer,
Exactly. Or I gotta pick up the kids, or I got this report that's doing, right? So yeah, you've got to introduce some variety. You've got to introduce some.
And it's getting worse and worse. Our attention spans are getting shiny object.
Yes. 2 to 3 seconds is what they now estimate is the amount of time that you have to grab your audience's attention. There's a generation alpha, whatever they're called now. Yeah, it used to be 5 to 7 seconds. Now they're saying 2 to 3 seconds because they spend all their time. Or people spend all their time doing this. And yes, if you don't have a hook immediately, they're gone. And then to your point earlier, it has to be pertinent. Because if not, then what are you up here for?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough holding an audience with that short attention span.
Yeah,
we have to be, and as speakers and trainers, we have to be honest. I mean, dead on honest. This is what it's going to take because this is the competition. Our competition is, wait for it, right there.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's the biggest, but it's still competing with all the other things that you go. Work, school, kids, dating, finance, starting a new business, like all these things. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And if you want that job, you go in for the interview, you better be more interesting than what that person is going to try to go eat at lunch.
Yes.
Because that guy, he's thinking about a pizza. You have to be more interesting in a pizza.
That pizza. Yes. Or more interesting in, or something to provide value to him. He's been in meetings all day and now he's coming here to listen to you.
Yeah. And he's really thinking about what he's supposed to be doing at home.
Well, Fursey, I know in the World Championship of Public Speaking, you make it to the semifinal rounds and the finals round. I wanted to know, how did you balance the preparation between your semifinal speech and your final speech?
Whichever speech won district, that's probably already pretty darn good.
Okay.
And now you want to make sure that it's good for an international audience. Your second speech, that then has to take a little bit of priority. Even though most folks who've been to the big show before, they know that you start working on both speeches at the same time.
Okay. What bit of advice would you give to any aspiring speaker? Not necessarily Toastmasters or contests, but to an aspiring speaker.
They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. These are my favorite quotes. That's one of them. And I came out of education. And then the second quote, dealing with education, that's my second quote, because I think it applies to public speaking. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a lamp to be lit.
Absolutely.
That's what you have to remember as a speaker. You're not there to fill them with a bunch of jargon and a bunch of stuff. You got to inspire them. And they have, I was doing this keynote back in May. I got invited to do the keynote to the Japanese district 76. I'm their conference speaker. And I've been getting ready for this for a while. I mean, I was interviewing people in their district since November, because that's when they asked me to come speak. So I've been interviewing people for the better part of a few months. But I thought I had a speech ready to go. At the last minute, when I spent a couple of days there in Tokyo, I learned something about Japanese culture that I didn't hear from the speakers. And I joined a couple of clubs. I mean, I visited a couple of clubs beforehand. And when I was in the clubs, I got a different flavor of it. And I work like a dog, changing up my speech, my
Mm.
keynote speech that I'd been working on, that I was ready to go with in English and Japanese. You know, I worked like a dog for 36 hours straight. And finally I got it to where I felt pretty darn happy with it. And it really won over the crowd. It really proved to the audience, I do care about you as a district, or I would not have gone through the extra effort. And it was obvious. I scoured their website. I just dug through all the club websites and their Facebooks, and I found pictures of their clubs and of their people. And some of this went back 25, 30 years in the newspapers. And I wanted to show them the concepts that I was talking about. I wanted to show them where these were already in their bloodline as a district.
That is amazing. Sure.
I got a question, because you got that picture behind your right shoulder there of Black Panther, right?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Now, like many other superheroes, Black Panther has two characters, right? There's the character with the mask,
T'Challa and Black Panther.
Yep. And then there's the character without the mask, right? There's the Bruce Wayne and the Batman, and Clark Kent, Superman, yada yada yada. When you speak, which one are you? Are you the character with the mask on, or when you speak, are you taking the mask off?
So, the way I'm going to explain this is, superheroes, they're kind of my thing. And one of my favorite superheroes, and he brings up, is Batman. And there is a Batman episode in a animated property. And Batman is being influenced by this villain, and it's penetrating his mind and his thoughts. And he thinks that he's losing his mind. And Batman said, I knew that I was being coerced because he started calling me Bruce Wayne. And he said, at that point, I knew I was being coerced. And the person said, well, how did you know that? He said, because I don't call myself Bruce Wayne. I call myself Batman. Okay. So the answer to that question is, the person without the mask may be Johnny, but the essence of who I am is the person on the stage.
Nice.
And so when I come onto the stage, I may be wearing the mask, but that is the truest form of my identity that I have. And that's why I love speaking, because that, I feel, gives me the opportunity to be my 100% authentic self. What would you say is your best strength as a communicator and a speaker?
I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Candor. I like it.
I do. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it catches me off guard and it's not so good. But I speak from the heart, and I enjoy making what I'm talking about important. It's not always important, but I make it important. I find a way that what I'm talking about is something that's important to you. Otherwise, what am I doing here?
Absolutely.
You have to figure out what you do well.
You can't beat being your authentic self. You just can't. And a friend, again, I was talking with a friend, to be you, to be candor, and to be you is a lot easier. Right? It's a lot easier for you to be you than trying to do something else, right?
Well, it's hard when we've spent most of our lives putting on a persona, because it can be tough if you don't, for many people. In theater, what I would challenge my students with is, when you go on stage, and this is sort of why I asked you the Black Panther question, because it was just sitting there and it made me think, But I challenge my kids: when you go on stage, are you putting the mask on, or are you taking the mask off? There are things that I've told my Toastmaster audiences that I've never even shared with my family.
Wow. And I completely understand that. The first time I have a daughter, and she was born with special needs. And the first time I ever told anybody in public about it was during my Toastmasters meeting.
Mm.
That was the first story that was the first time I ever shared that story. And that's why I say, and I guess maybe that's why I fell in love with speaking so much. It's because you get to be that authentic self.
It can be very difficult.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I can do as a coach as well, is that I can read my clients really well. And they kind of know, this is one of the things I'm going to work with you on. I'm going to get you to take that mask off. I'm going to take you to get that mask off and bear it. And I want to see what's in there, because I know it's in there, and I want you to take a chance. And sometimes the process getting there can be
challenging, I bet.
Yes, sir. It can be torturous. Yeah. On a couple of occasions, I've been able to do it as an evaluator, like an IE, like an individual evaluator. And boy, I tell you, Johnny, trying to do that in 3.5 minutes, that's rough. Yeah. You try coaching someone to bare their soul in 3 minutes or less, because the first 30 seconds are, oh, you were so good, yada, yada, yada. Now, let me ask you a question. And they're like, you want me to answer? It's your event. I'm like, yeah, I want you to answer. And all of a sudden, everybody realizes, wow, he's peeling the onion. We're going to peel this onion right here in front of God and everybody in 3 minutes or less. We're going to peel that onion. And you get to the core, and there you are crying.
I think that's a great way to end this fascinating and great conversation. Fursey, tell the people where they can find you at. Or are there any projects you have upcoming, or books or anything that you want to promote?
Oh, thank you. I forgot to work. I forgot to think about that. Hey, listen, I'm at FurseyGotuaco.com or Stan.store, Stan Store, Speaking with Fursey. And I've got a couple of classes starting up in September, October. And for those who want to really get polished up on skills, it's a great chance. It's a subscription kind of situation where people can really get a chance to get some answers. And you know how what we just did with the video, that's one of the things that we do. They can bring their videos into the class, and we'll go through that with a fine-tooth comb, which is hard when you're bald and don't have hair. Yeah. But that's what we're gonna do, Johnny. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. I've enjoyed our time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward to hearing all about your great success and all your speaking endeavors and all your dreams and ambitions. As I like to tell everybody, please remember to be your best, to be inspired, to be great. Talk to you all later.